G'day folks, in today's video I'll be unboxing the Sun Mum 4x4 version 3. Let's get this thing open. As always, it's most likely going to be packed well. I just said as always most likely, there you go. It is from Cubes, and I want to thank Cubes for sending this one through for our viewing pleasure, for me to review, and if you like it, I guess you to buy. Let's have a look what we've got here. Nothing else in the box. That's there. I think this is the same box that I've had before, so I always look to see if there's anything new that I haven't seen before, but all of these I think are normal. So the Sun 4 Mum 3 and the Sun 3 Mum 4, just so you're aware. That's those ones. The Sun Mum 4x4 2, the Sun Mum 4x4 1. So we don't even have the picture. Yes, we do. No, we don't. We don't actually have the picture of this puzzle on the box. So I have a lot of these cubes, but not all of them. Let's get it open and see how it's looking. You may remember a relatively recent video I did. It was of in fact, it was of these two puzzles here. The Sun 4 Mum 3 and the Sun 3 Mum 4, and I actually took it down and re-uploaded it because I had not realized that the edges split. So the edges split along there in that one, and on this one they split along there, and of course they split here as well. And it was a completely new experience, like a much better solve than what I had suspected. So I remade that and uploaded it. Now back to the Sun Mum 4x4 version 3. I just want to talk about the naming. This thing is Sun 4 Mum 3. So it's got one number with each of the parents, or each of the persons, I suppose. This is not, it's the Sun Mum 4x4x4. And I think the reason they've gone for the name change is on these Sun 4 Mum 3s, these edges split. That's what I believe is the main difference. So by calling this a Sun Mum 4x4 version 3, what we know is that the edges do not split. That's my understanding. Obviously we'll see pretty soon. And how is this related to the other Sun Mums? So this is the Sun Mum 4x4 version 1. This is the Sun Mum 4x4 version 2. You can see very clearly the difference with the version 2 to the version 1. And brilliant puzzle. I do have a video out for this, so make sure you check that out. If you, in fact, all of these things so far, tutorial videos are out. If you haven't seen them, have a look. Fantastically challenging puzzles, but great puzzles nevertheless. These look very similar. The obvious difference, of course, is that this is black plastic and this is colored. Let's talk about that, because colored plastic, original colored plastic, is not my favorite, and I'm pretty sure it's not most people's favorites. But the sad reality is, for whatever reason, MF8 and other companies are releasing puzzles in colored plastic and they're not following them up with the black plastic. So it used to be that the colored plastic was the sort of initial, almost like a beta testing, see how it's sold, and then they'd go on to the black plastic. But they don't seem to be doing that much more these days. So I wouldn't necessarily wait for a black plastic puzzle to come out. It may never come out. I think that number 3 is saying it's version 3. That is actually a super smart thing to do. If I had the colored plastic version of the version 1, I'd have no way to tell what the difference was apart from turning it. So you can see they look the same, apart from obviously the color of the plastic. The size comparison to a normal 3x3 cube, you can see it's certainly bigger. It's not a humongous cube, but it is definitely bigger. The nice thing about all of these is they are exactly the same size all the way down to this. So if you want to do a bit of interchanging, you can certainly do that. Okay, so what is this Sun Mum 4x4 version 3? Well, before I get into that, just a reminder that if you do like my videos and want to support my channel, one way you can do that is to buy me a coffee. The link is in the description. Alrighty, so the Sun Mum 4x4 version 3, my understanding is that the turns are only to there in order to make a turn. I should just test that very quickly. Is that correct? Oh, no, that is correct, but it goes through the center. That's what I first thought, is it turned along here, but I think it goes through the center if this is correct. If it's not, I'm about to find out. Perhaps before we do that, let's just see how it turns in general, because you may remember I was very, very flaky with one of the Sun Mum, or the Sun 4 Mum 3, or the Sun 3 Mum 4. Almost didn't want to turn it because it just felt not quite right. I can tell you now, this seems much, much firmer and much more normal. So I'm very happy with that. I don't particularly want a puzzle in pieces on my desk. I'd rather it be a little harder to turn than a little easier to turn. So I don't want it to feel loose, so that's good so far. I think a tiny bit of lube in here would probably help quite a bit. Now, I'm pretty sure that the edges don't split. Let's test that. First of all, I've got to remember how we can do that. I think we turn it. Can I turn it? Oh, if I can't turn it here, they're definitely not going to split. Oh, I can turn it here. That's good. Let's just get that down to there. Okay, so it does turn there. Now I need to turn it only to about there, so that these edges here line up along here. So this will be the test. I don't think they split. I don't want to bust anything, but part of me would love to be proved wrong. That's in line, is it? Is everything in line? That's not in line, but it looks like... Oh no, hang on. That might be better now. Does everything look in line there? I think it does. Come on, please. Oh my goodness. It does it? That is phenomenal. So those edges do actually split. That is brilliant. So this is actually a combination. Hang on. I've got to think for a minute and get this back to cube shape, because this is not as simple as it might seem. You kind of think, even looking at that, wow, did I just split those edges? I did. I had no idea that they split. My understanding was that they wouldn't. That's going to make it so much cooler. Okay, so the edges split. So in that sense, it's in this family, the Sun 4 Mum 3. These edges split in the same way. Or is it the Sun 3 Mum 4? Got to get this right. No, it is that one actually. Is it down through here? Can't be down through there. There's just so many of these things now, I can't keep track of them. This one here, down there. Yes, this is the same thing, and those edges split like that. That's what I was trying to do. You can see they split through the edges there. So when I do it on our new puzzle here, the Sun Mum 4x4 3, I've got the same setup as these edges here. I've got that same setup. The only difference here is the inner centers. So, wow, I'm actually a little bit stunned. I did not think that would split. That is going to make it a massively better puzzle. Okay, I've just done a bit of a fade out, fade in. I actually made the rest of the video and got to the end, got off camera and went, oh wait, it turns like that as well. So I wanted to come back and sort of remake this. I've got a screwdriver here. I have actually gone and loosened the screws in most of the sides. I would say absolute max a quarter of a turn, probably more like an eighth of a turn. And I'll just start turning a few sides here, and you can see there's still a little bit of work to be done because I'm turning that, and you can see that one's also turning, which means, well, I don't know what it means, but I have managed to get that right before. But you can see definite improvement here. When you get yours, you'll notice that there is a fine line between the loosening that you do. You don't want to loosen it so much that it starts feeling really far too loose and you just worry things are going to get out of place. So a little bit at a time, a couple of faces at a time, give it a twist, see if you like it or not. You can always tighten it again. And just to be clear on exactly how to do that, on these ones, you just pull off the center cap. You can see the screw is right there, easy peasy. On these ones, there is no center cap. You just push the screwdriver in like that. It'll look a little bit like, oh, what am I doing here? But you'll very clearly feel the screw, and then you can turn to your heart's content, take it out. That's fine. So this is why this is suddenly turning a little bit better than it was. So I'm now going to review my review and say this is not really going to need lube at all. This will just need some good scrambling, breaking in, and it'll be totally fine. Now, the reason that I wanted to come back in and redo this was because what I was initially going, okay, we've got split edges here, that's great. How exactly does it turn? What it does do is, I think we already discussed this, we'll turn it across like that, and that will turn, and that will turn. The thing that I missed was obviously, if the edges are split, so will that. So it's actually so much easier to split your edges now. Like with the other puzzles, with these Sun 3 Mum 4 and with the Sun 4 Mum 3, there's a little bit more work to get that, particularly if you wanted it to retain a cube shape. So I think that is fantastic. They've really sort of combined, if you like. If you look at this and you look at this and you say, what would happen if I combined these Mum edges with these Sun centers? What would I get? You'd get that. So well done, MF8. Good thinking. There's a nice little set coming along here. There's more stuff they could do. You're probably wondering, well, could they put those little funny edge things in here like the version 2? I don't know. That'd be pretty amazing if it did, but who knows. So in terms of the actual turning here, that's what you want to do. You actually want to move it across sort of 3 squares, and then you've got to turn on the side, you've got to turn in the middle, and you've got to turn on the side. That is pretty cool. So I'm going to highly recommend this puzzle. If you don't have any of the Sun Mums, you are missing out. As I said at the start, I would not bother waiting for black plastic. It probably will never come. This is what things are now. You just got to take what you get. As I've also said, the turning is far more important than the color to me. And I've shown that you can definitely adjust the turning, and that feels far less stiff than it did. And I'm positive by the time my tutorial video comes out, this will be turning pretty nicely. So really good puzzle. I hope that's clear on how that turns, what it does. Am I going to scramble it now? No. But I guess I will sort of say, well, you can, you can't do a checkerboardy thing, but you can kind of do that. And you can see straight away that's going to get scrambled quite quickly, because then, because of all the freedom, you can now scramble it that way. There's really no restrictions here, whereas on the other ones there was a lot of restrictions. Go ahead, purchase yours if you want. It's a fantastic addition to the puzzle family. Thanks a lot for watching. I appreciate your time in watching these videos, and I'll see you on the next one.